What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Sunday, December 12th. So we actually have a decent amount of stuff that we need to cover. Lawmakers are now moving from stimulus to potentially figuring out a way to increase the minimum. It's a big shift, but that is currently what's going on. We also know that President Biden's approval rating has fallen. We also know that the child tax credit payments are actually considered one of the worries at this time, because lawmakers have until the end of 2021 to pass the Build Back Better Act before these child tax credit payments would expire. So there's a lot of stuff happening right now, but let's try to break it all down. First off, if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Now, let's talk about President Biden's approval rating, because his approval rating is going to impact what Democrats ultimately propose. If we see President Biden's approval rating fall, usually that also coincides with the approval rating of Democrats as a whole. So what we know is 69% of Americans disapprove of how President Biden has handled inflation. I think inflation is obviously, it's running. We are seeing it go up and up and up. It's gonna be a major concern next month if we see it go up even. My expectation is, yes, we will see it go up probably for the next 2 to 3 months before it somewhat levels out, and eventually we will see it fall. Now, it probably won't come down very quick. It probably will not drop. We will not see deflationary numbers in the same way we have seen inflation. So just keep that. We know 50% of Americans disapprove of how President Biden has handled the economic recovery. 51% of Americans disapprove of his handling of climate change. The majority of those are Republicans. And only 38% of people trust President Biden to negotiate on America's behalf. So right now, that makes it very difficult to really get anything done if the guy that you have negotiating is somebody that you do not even trust. So we'll see what happens there. Right now, the numbers have continued to fall. And the Biden administration is doing, at least in their, what they are saying is, they're doing everything they can to try to fix the situation as quickly as possible. Here's the only problem right now, is that some of President Biden's advisors are actually telling him that this is a long road. This is not going to happen overnight. It takes time. We need to be patient. So his advisors are telling him to be patient, yet he wants to go as quickly as possible, get this thing fixed almost immediately. It's not. So here's what's going on with the Build Back Better Act, and here's how this is going to play into this. Next week, there will be a bipartisan, actually multiple meetings, there'll be bipartisan meetings with the Senate parliamentarian. The expectation is this will most likely be the final push from Democrats to try to get the immigration provision passed. But we do not know where the Senate parliamentarian's thinking is at, where her mind. So, what I can tell you is this coming week will be a very important week. It will be a pivotal week to see what actually gets included into the Build Back Better Act. If the immigration provision gets pulled, there's a chance other things could be pulled as well. Okay? What we see happen this coming week is going to be a very telling sign as to whether or not this bill is ultimately going to pass. Some Democrats say if the immigration provision is not included, the next step would be to overrule the parliamentarian. However, this is not something that multiple Senate Democrats are willing to even consider. Senator Joe Manchin just said this week that he is going to go with whatever the parliamentarian says, This is not one of those things that you pick and choose when it's convenient for you. You just always go with it. So we will see what happens there. But what could we see happen from here? Where do we go? Well, lawmakers have been discussing the multiple different provisions to provide additional assistance to the American people. Some are good, some, pretty much indifferent on. But here's what you need to keep in mind. Right now, what I can tell you is that so many people are not sure if the child tax credit payments will be extended, if we see paid leave, if there's really going to be an expansion of Medicare, if prescription drug prices fall. Are we going to? We don't know. But with the recent CPI data showing inflation at 6.8%, and the expectation is it's most likely going to go up over the next couple of months. Some argue that let's not worry about providing additional assistance and relief and stimulus. Let's just get employers to pay $15 per hour. That's the key. $15. Some argue that $15 per hour, though, is no longer acceptable. $15 an hour would have been acceptable in the beginning of 2020 or 2019, but now, after the past couple of years, with inflation where it is currently at, $15 per hour should be the starting point, not the end goal. So, one person that makes $15 per hour, they work 160 hours per month or 40 hours a week, work for 52 weeks, they would make roughly $31,200. That would be what they make before taxes. Okay. Well, once you factor in taxes, you factor in Social Security, you factor in Medicare, right? Income tax. And as long as there's no state tax, you'd be bringing home about $27,000. Comes out to like $26,800 or something like that. So we're just going to say $27,000. That means that person that's now bringing home $27,000, you still make more than double the federal poverty level, which is I think like $12,000 or something for an individual. But if you think you're going to be able to buy a home with $27,000, send a kid to college, invest, potentially retire, buy a car, pay for insurance, and do all these things, it's going to be very difficult. Just think about it. $27,000 a year divided by 52 weeks comes up to about $520 per week. Okay? A little under $2,100 per month. Now, here's what you need to keep in mind. The average rent on a one-bedroom apartment is about $1,200 throughout the U.S. And let me know down in the comment section below, where do you live and what is the average rent for a one or even two bedroom? In West Virginia, what I can tell you is they're right around the bottom for average. This is where Senator Joe Manchin is from. West Virginia. This is where he's a senator for. He keeps on saying that his residents, his voters, are worried about inflation. Yes, they obviously are worried about inflation when they only pay $725 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. That's in some place like Hawaii, you're spending about $1,600 per month for a one-bedroom apartment in Hawaii. Now, that's on average as well. But here's where the big discussions are coming in. The major discussions over the past couple of months have been on providing more benefits to those that are really in need. The lower income and the middle income households. How do we do? The problem is all 50 Senate Democrats have to get on board with any stimulus, with any provision that's going to pass in the Build Back Better Act, because it needs 51 votes. So here's what's happening. Since all 50 Senate Democrats can't get on board, right now many are looking at different ways to provide assistance. One of the easiest ways is to actually put money back into the American people's pocket. Just give them more money. So let's try to, entice or require employers to pay them more. That's what the discussions have been about. It's not on, let's cut taxes, right, which would help out a lot of people. It's not about, providing an additional stimulus check. It's not about raising Social Security benefits, right, or cutting gas taxes. That's not being, and so that's the real problem. But keep in mind that the Senate parliamentarian has already ruled against a $15 minimum wage provision. So that's not going to be included. Democrats would be insane to put it back into the bill, pass the bill in the House, send it over to the Senate just for that to be pulled out, voted on, and kicked back to the House. Now, I don't know if they do this, but they could. The only way right now to get through any of this stuff and get through the Senate parliamentarian, according to multiple Democrats, is to overrule her ruling. But like I already addressed, multiple Senate Democrats have already said they would not do this. Senator Joe Manchin was one of those that actually addressed this week, because that was the discussion. Is let's just put everything into the new. Let's let the Senate parliamentarian rule on it, and we will just overrule what her ruling is. So that means we could pass a $15 minimum wage. We can include that immigration provision. Well, we can pretty much put anything in there that we want to, because we are not going to listen to whatever she has to say. That was the discussion. So right now, the path forward with the Build Back Better, with any form of stimulus, with the $15 minimum wage or the immigration provision, right now, the path forward is murky at best. It's very cloudy where we are actually going. I don't think anybody knows. Now, here's something that according to multiple recent reports, they indicate that the child tax credit payments aren't as popular as the Biden administration was thinking. Here's the reason why. Being that only parents qualify, who does this leave out? It leaves out individuals, people with no families, and many elderly people. Mostly people on a fixed income or in college. This leaves out a very large percentage of the population, which means they're not really going to support it, being it doesn't benefit them. And I understand this, and I know this. Some people say, oh, that's they're just jealous that parents are getting all the money. Well, parents have been getting all the money. I'm a parent, right? But I'm not saying parents shouldn't get the money. I don't think elderly people are saying parents shouldn't get the money, but just be fair. Why should the elderly get screwed, have to pay more when parents are getting all the benefits, right? So even though everyone's seeing inflation, yes, but the problem is some are actually being given a form of a stimulus check or this child tax credit payment, which is technically an advance on your 2021 tax return. So I think that's the big issue. And the majority of people that don't qualify for this benefit are elderly. They're most likely on a fixed income, and they're simply upset because they have been promised things from President Biden that have not been fulfilled. For instance, it's $200 per month for Social Security benefits. Hasn't been increased. Now, even though many don't support this provision, Democrats know that leaving this provision out, letting it expire, would ultimately be detrimental to their plans to retain the House and the Senate in 2022. So, this would most likely cost them if they do not get this included. That being said, moderate Democrats are already pushing the Federal Reserve for tougher action regarding inflation. Now, many expect that we are going to see more inflation before things ultimately get better. I just addressed this earlier on in this video. But right now, more benefits will need to be paid out to those that are really struggling. That's the expectation. Now, I bring you these reports even though there's not a lot of discussions on how are we going to see additional, what form of stimulus could be coming, how are the American people going to get some form of assistance from the government. Right now that we don't have a lot of discussions on the actual details, it makes it very difficult, but what I want you to understand is the path forward keeps changing. It went from let's provide for families. It changed to let's build back better. Then right now, the expectation is build back better might be struggling because we need additional stimulus or support for the short term. And this is exactly what the White House economic advisor Jared Bernstein had to say the other day, was that no, the Build Back Better Act doesn't provide any short-term relief. It's really a long-term. So the expectation is lawmakers need to come back to the drawing board. They need to renegotiate and get short-term goals. That's the expectation as of right now. So as soon as we know more regarding what lawmakers plan on doing or what the Biden administration is thinking, I promise I will bring you those updates as soon as possible. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Sunday, December 12th. So we actually have a decent amount of stuff that we need to cover. Lawmakers are now moving from stimulus to potentially figuring out a way to increase the minimum. It's a big shift, but that is currently what's going on. We also know that President Biden's approval rating has fallen. We also know that the child tax credit payments are actually considered one of the worries at this time, because lawmakers have until the end of 2021 to pass the Build Back Better Act before these child tax credit payments would expire. So there's a lot of stuff happening right now, but let's try to break it all down. First off, if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor,